is Marina Bers. I'm a professor at the Elliott Pearson Department of Child Study and Human Development, and I'm also an appointment in computer science, and I'm the director of the DevTech Research Lab at Tufts University. I'm proud now to share with you Coding as Another Language, the curriculum I've been working with members from my team, the DevTech team at Tufts, for several years right now. So Coding as Another Language is brought to you so you can bring it to your own children in your own classroom. As Another Language is based on over 20 years of research that we've been conducted, and it's based on ideas. We want children to have ideas that they gain, that they acquire, they develop by exploring computer science in a developmentally appropriate way. So we have developed Coding as Another Language for Scratch Junior, which is a free app that we co-developed with MIT Media Lab, and it's supported by the Scratch Foundation, although originally was initiated with the NSF National Science Foundation. And it consists of 24 lessons, and it's designed for kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. But it's not about the technology. It's not about the wonderful Scratch Junior, although, of course, Scratch Junior is wonderful. Coding as Another Language positions the teaching of computer science, the teaching of coding, the teaching of computational thinking as learning a new language, because programming, it's an artificial language. It's a language that computer scientists use to communicate with computers and other technological devices. The same way that we might use English, or I grew up speaking Spanish in Argentina, so I use Spanish. So to communicate with computers, we use programming languages. And in this case, the curriculum is focused on Scratch Junior. However, we want children to be acquiring this wonderful new artificial language of computer science through Scratch Junior at the same time that they are strengthening their own written languages. You know that early childhood is a time where literacy is the most important. This is a time where we really learn how to read and how to write, to communicate ourselves, to express ourselves, to have a voice, and eventually to develop into contributors to our civic society. So, Coding as Another Language brings the two together, brings literacy and brings computer science, so children can be learning both together. The way we contracted the Coding as Another Language curriculum is around powerful ideas of the field of computer science and powerful ideas of the field of literacy. We put those ideas in conversations with each other. In addition to those powerful ideas that are content-based, we have powerful ideas about what we believe is the best kind of learning experiences young children can have. And I'm going to describe very short, very quick, what are the 4 powerful ideas about learning with and through technology, specifically through coding, that the Coding as Another Language proposes to you. First, coding as a playground. We want children to be learning by engaging in imagination, in fantasy play, in creativity, in interactions with others, in movement, in discovery, in talking, in exploring language and conflict resolution and socialization, all of these same areas that we see developing in your neighborhood playground. And of course, play is at the center. So Coding as Another Language, is based on allowing opportunities for children to play with Scratch Junior, play with each other, play with new ideas. The second idea that Coding as Another Language is based is exactly that learning a computer program is learning a new language. It requires time. It requires the ability to be able to express yourself in a fluent way, not just to go through the coding and decoding stage, which is the basic of knowing the grammar and the syntax of the language, but really putting all those symbols and of those sequences in the service of expressing who you are. What are your passions? What are your ideas? What do you want to say to the world about who you are, using not only a natural language, but using a programming language? That's the second idea. The third idea, we call it Coding as a palette of virtues. Let me explain. When we are engaged in programming, it's hard. And we have developed habits of mind, values, virtues, you name it. You can choose your own word for that, such as persistence, forgiveness, open-mindedness, the ability to collaborate with others. Those are all what we call our colors in our palette of virtues, very much like a painter who has a palette of colors and then mixes and matches to create his or her own project. The same way, we have some basic values that we want to reinforce in a coding playground. And teachers, according to their own cultures, to their own backgrounds, to their own context, they can decide what are the ones that they want to really offer in this palette. We start by offering 10, and we, of course, because coding is a creative project, we expect and we imagine that your own palette of virtues is going to change and be adapted and offer different possibilities for the children you're working with. And finally, the last idea is coding as a bridge. When we start understanding coding as another language, it positions us not only on the STEM realm and the problem-solving realm, but also on the social realm, because languages are about communication, are about engaging with one another. And we want children to use coding as an opportunity to not only learn with the computer, but learn with each other. And as we start learning about each other, we see opportunities to establish bridges between people who might come from completely different backgrounds, cultures, even who speak different language, but will have one thing in common, and this possibility to code together, to establish bridges for doing things together and getting to know each other in deeper, meaningful ways. Coding as another language, it's organized around books, and we have 2 books that cut across the 24 units for each grade. For each grade, there is a non-fiction book which tells the story of someone, in particular a woman in the field of computer science, that had made a history, that has left a lasting impact, for example. And when they use those in the Cal curriculum, what they do is they read the book, they read the book, they talk about the stories and the characters and the setting and the sequence, and then children are invited to use Scratch Junior to retell the story, to imagine what if new possibilities, to recreate the characters. And as they work on their book-centered projects, they are exploring in a structured and unstructured way all of the different concepts involved in learning how to program with Scratch Junior. The second book, it's a fantasy book. We have Nuffle Bunny in kindergarten, Where the Wild Things Are in first grade, and Stella Luna in second grade. And children read this story, and their final project after 24 lessons, their final project is recreating a different ending or a different context for this book. For example, one of my favorites is in first grade, where the Wild Things Are, where children are invited to create their own wild rumpus dance for these monsters in Scratch Junior. Of course, teachers can choose their own books and replace any of the books we offer in the curriculum with their own favorite books. As another language is organized around 24 lessons of 30 to 45 minutes each. Teachers can choose how they want to teach it. It could be twice a week, once a week, 3 times a week, up to the discretion and the needs of each teacher and each classroom. Every lesson has a structure that follows warm-up games with a technology circle, songs, movements, dance, reading together, working on a design journal, and of course Scratch Junior time, which is sometimes open-ended and free exploration, and sometimes is designed to provide some scaffolding and support for learning the concepts. Coding as another language is completely aligned with Common Core standards in math and in literacy, and of course with different and several computer science standards that are circulating nationwide. The Coding as Another Language curriculum engages children in the design process. where they ask questions, they imagine, they plan, they create, they test and improve their projects, and they share with others in the community. When children work with the activities offered in Coding as Another Language, there's playfulness, there's exploration, there's collaboration. There is the passion to really spend the time to explore, to create your own project. And then those projects are part of a community. And so Coding as Another Language has as a final activity an opportunity to demonstrate on an open house for community members and family members and other grades all the wonderful projects that children have been doing throughout the curriculum. For us, it's very, very important to show that as we learn. If you are interested in learning more about the pedagogy that we use in creating the Coding as Another Language curriculum and all of the work that we do at the DevTech Research Group at Tufts University, I invite you to read my book, Coding as Another Playground. This is the second edition that was published in 2020. You can read the book and you can also browse online. We created a book guide with activities, with videos, with lots of opportunities for you to engage and interact with some of the powerful ideas in the book. I invite you to come explore with us our website, Coding as Another Language, and find the curriculum, explore it on your own, take it to your children, and let us know how it went. Good luck with it.